Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Mietta and we are back with our Prehistoric Kingdom series. So, I've been working on a sort of Herbivore Valley, which I've been hinting and started to work on, I think in our last live. And I wanted to show you guys how did we get from here to here. So if you are interested, stay with me and check out the magic happening on camera. So yeah, have fun checking it out. Also, if you guys do end up enjoying the build or wanna see more, I would appreciate like or comment or some sort of feedback, so I know that I should focus more on interesting builds like this. So I guess this is where the magic gonna start. I sort of laid out with roadworks around the area. I wanna keep stones or like the stony cliffs, and this is the enclosure we built for our Dryosaurus, and yeah, it is going to have some nice view on our herds of big creatures. And I definitely have to do some fine tuning and put sort of so many details around the place. Like, this is where we are going to build our bridge, which I'm gonna do on a live, so I might cut in where that come from. Okay guys, so we are after the live, and I sort of already put out so many things. The bridge I'm not too happy with currently, but we are going to do some work with the foliage and I might come up with new ideas. At least that's my hope, because I'm usually working like that. Like I do have an idea, I start to work on it, and we end up liking it or not. And if I don't like it in the very long time or term, I'm gonna go back and fix it later. That's what we did with many of the enclosures around the zoo so far. So if that's happening in the future, let's not get surprised, because that's just how my mind works. And if finally the creative spur hits, then I can work better on it. If it's not, then we are just gonna wait until it is coming or I get better, which I keep on repeating in this series, but yeah, that's still true. And I just have to wait until these creatures, our Leielanasaura, moves out. In the end, I will show you guys around what sort of creatures we put in to our enclosure during the live stream, and by the end we might add a few more creatures to make this whole build feel alive. But yeah, we do have so many things to work in this place. I wanna make this interesting and something that works with the terrain, I guess. So yeah, I'm super excited. At this point in the build, I started to focus on putting down some of the rocks around the area, because this is like a riverbed which I wanted to look a bit more interesting, and it's easy to do that with actual like rocks, and the foliage is certainly a different kind of flavor that we can make this enclosure work with and look better and feel more realistic, I guess. I'm still not fully close with how to make realistic looking biomes, but I'm trying my best to learn it, and hopefully one day I get there. But until then, we might have to suffer through a few more of my experimentations, and to be honest, I still kind of like it how it looks. And yes, by the end, this is probably my favorite idea so far in the zoo. And yeah, the bridge is the only thing I'm not fully happy about, but maybe I just have to add more details to it, and it will look eventually better. The foliage work was pretty fun, and I just tried to make everything look busy, and yeah, make it more hiding some of the rock stuff, and like make patches of green, and yeah, feel like a forest, some sort, foresty valley with some river cutting through the land. And yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite enclosure currently, and I still wanna add so many things to it. It's not the end of how this gonna look. Like we still have to work around the area, and I plan to build a big hotel, which I know that people don't technically stay in the park, but we can like imagine that there is this hotel where people could technically stay if they have like some sort of higher tier ticket to the park. I'm also trying to make sure that I put everywhere food for our creatures, and make it work that way, so wherever they go, they are not gonna go hungry, because there's always nearby some sort of food that they can grab. It's only gonna be like hard on our keepers, because yeah, they are like technically have to come down into this whole ditch where yeah, I had to sort of work on the building where they can come down, but that was the one of the hardest parts, because I had to redo it so many times, but in the end I'm loving how it looked. But we are still not there. We are working on the foliage, but we will get there in the video. And I'm especially curious about your ideas on that one. That's the I'm probably gonna put in the version which I liked in the end, not all the tries. We did some sort of temporary one in the live stream, and I ended up like working through it, and deleting it in the end, and redoing it with some basic ideas. But then I kind of saw some other ideas in some real life park, and I like the like this net kind of wooden thing in the area where visitors can be. So that was the big inspiration, and I just started to work it into how my build could look like. Here I started to work on the base for that building I just mentioned, and kind of experimented it with the bottom, where obviously mostly only our keepers gonna be. And I have to say, the bottom part, the very bottom part, is a mess, and I don't want us to see how that looks, but the higher parts are something that I'm really happy how it turned out in the end. And it was a challenging build to come up with little pieces to put together. And I really wish that some of the glass that we have would be able to be tinted. I don't know if it's a possibility with some other glass, if that is, or if I could maybe find something in the workshop. I'm going to look and see if there's some option to have tinted windows, because I didn't want only to have the glass like the frame tinted, which you will see soon in the build. But yeah, it's only tinted the like the framework of the glass and not the actual glass. And the idea inspiration was that we would have like these tinted bottom sections of the glass, but obviously I couldn't do that. So I don't know if there's an option for that, but I'm going to look in the workshop. And if any of you know some sort of way to make a glass wall tinted like that, I'm happy to listen and find the right asset for that. But yeah, currently that's the only thing I wasn't fully happy with. But all the other things, the small details that we put in, I'm going to give more work because we did not put some lights in it. And yeah, we kind of have to start to work on the night layout and the colors and the lights, of the park. But that's just going to be maybe happen on a stream. Also, one more thing, because at the stream when I played, I had so many crashes with the game, and without this stream, I had no issues at all. So I don't know if in the future how deeply I wanna go in. Probably just some minor detailing work, not something massive to build, because if it's some sort of problem with streaming the game that's like crashing or overworking my PC, I don't know. And it's not the game fault, I guess, if it's like working properly when I'm just recording and not streaming. I don't think I'm not streaming and recording at the same time, because that's kind of overworking the whole uh, system, I guess. But yeah, I guess just the streaming is pitching a bit too much on Prehistoric Kingdom, or for my system. I don't know. I don't have the highest top PC, but I'm happy with how we are working. And if it's working in my, you know, um, kind of seamless moments, then I'm happy that I can work on my park. And I can also say that I'm proudly saying that I'm reaching my first 100 hours with the Prehistoric Kingdom, which probably, um, yeah, it's gonna go a lot higher, because we still do have many, many, many enclosures to build in this park. So, and yeah, um, well, in Arc, I'm almost at the 1,000 hours, and I definitely have to get back to play some Ark and do some building there too, and reach that nice rounded number. And yeah, but I'm happy that we are achieving so much too. And honestly, this 100 hour in Prehistoric Kingdom flew by so fast, and I'm really enjoying the game, and can't wait to you know see what the future holds for the game. I do hope that they are going to bring maybe more like building assets. So by the time I'm learning how to put together some nice stuff, then I can use some new stuff too. So yeah, this game definitely is one big favorite currently for me. And even if I'm struggling like currently with the ramp, that part of the um, edge of the terrain is been really annoying. But we figured sort of out in the end, and I started to place down some um, inst- in interesting way these walls to make some unique looking um, structure. Because yeah, I wanted this building to look like something special and kind of close to what I saw as an inspiration on Pinterest. And it in my own version, obviously, because it didn't have this sort of tower which goes down, but I feel like it's looking better than like uh, making just the tower go down. I don't know. I mean, it's a tower that's going down, but it's not just like some corners and yeah, you know what I mean. So it's bit new, different for me, but I think I like how this build came together in the end. And you can see from my tries that I wasn't fully at this point sure how I wanted this to look. And then I decided that, okay, this log is not gonna work the way I wanted it. So it's always a bunch of trial and error. And it's fun to experiment how the building is gonna fit in together in my mind when I only have some fractions of idea how I want it to look. And yeah, I'm so proud of this build and the whole like enclosure. Like it's so fun to see the creatures walk around, and I'm definitely gonna do some walk of the park soon where we are checking out. But I still need to probably place around some of the um like railings, because some of our guests decided to just hang around on the rocks and have a better look where they shouldn't. So, and I probably should also put some viewpoints around the edge of this build. So they do have more spots where they can kind of look into the big valley, because we don't only want one or two spots for them to be able to see all of these amazing creatures. So I guess there's that in mind, and we definitely need more towers like this to have our workers options, better options to go and feed and clean the enclosure. dinos. And that's gonna be future Mietta's problem to figure out where I wanna build more. And yeah, my main focus is going to be, I guess, prettify the area on top, um, between the volley and the trike section, so we can have it sort of finished. And then I guess I wanna start to work on the other side of the volley area. Maybe we are going to make a big plaza for our people to be able to eat and have a restaurant. Maybe we could have like I don't know, visitor center or some sort of thing like that, so they can have a look around, and maybe a VIP section where they can get to the hotels if they bought a ticket like that. I'm also thinking about a helipad that could be like for only the luxurious rich people who can afford, I don't know, a helicopter arrival to the zoo. Though I'm thinking about maybe they could also have their own hotel section that could like look out into a Rex paddock or something. We are not quite yet near building a Rex paddock, but we are getting closer to have some of the more iconic creatures of the park. And I also want to bring in some of the mammals, so we can have the mountain where we started to work on have a purpose. So yeah, there's so much to think about, right? And plan. And if you guys have any requests or on what sort of creatures you wanna see faster to have their own enclosure, I'm happy to listen and plan, maybe even with you guys, area for them. And yeah, I'm also really excited to get some spinos, which are counting, I guess, as some more of the iconic parts of the creatures. And yeah, maybe we can loop it, this whole river section, into like a spino corner where we are going to have them have a big area, obviously not connected with the herbivore section, but it is an idea. And yeah, they could have something cool there, and we would have like a bunch of windows looking out on their big watery section, and I guess more bridge I will have to suffer through, but it's fine. It's fine. We are going to power through it. And yeah, this is the part where I mentioned kinda the blue frame of the window. And if you guys know how to tint the window, like I mentioned, then I'm happy to listen, because that was the vision for this whole thing. But I think it still works. It's making it pop a bit better. But I wanted it to look like that from the, I guess, inside better, with actual window tinted, not the frame. But that's fine. Well, at least for now, until we have the option to do what I originally had in mind. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Also, me working with these hanging green stuff, I, I really have to um, rely on better with the moving the assets because these the stack object thing is just making them have too far from where I want them. So I will have to keep that in mind for the future. But overall, I think the whole building is looking like in fit with the whole place, and you really can have some good views of the big creatures if they are walking by, and yeah, it's a really fun build, and well, our workers have a way at least to go down to the enclosure. Really, the biggest call was those trees on the inside, and that was the whole inspiration. The like wood on the top also was like something to seem like it's kind of on purpose like that. Maybe I'm gonna make it look better, like they are kind of connected. But for now, I think I'm happy how this looks. And I guess here I just wanted to do something like a glass, um, like a roof, and then I was like, okay, let's not make this whole section too, I don't know, um, crazy. We do have some other um, areas of the build where it's more interesting looking. So I just wanted something more simple in the end. And I guess I just finished the build. So I think I might let you guys enjoy the end pieces of the build. And we are gonna catch up in the end on how it looks and stuff. So enjoy the end of the montage. Hey, is anyone still here? Did you watch the recap of the end of the build? You didn't? Oh, go back and watch it. No, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, we are at the end of our build, and this is the view up here. Look at all of these big, big brontos and other fun, huge creatures that we have, and yeah, this is the dream view for our guests, and I'm sure they are going to join us in any moment here. So yeah, I'm happy how this turned out in the end, and we can have some nice views around the place, and have some fun creatures that are running around the enclosure. We do have some of our creatures where we already have them around the park, like the Styracosaurus and the Laialanasaura. We also have a Parasaur in this build, but I can imagine like technically we could drop in from some of our other enclosures these creatures that could live in harmony with each other. And yeah, it's just fun to see all kind of sizes of our creatures looking around and having fun with each other. We have our first long neck boys too. Here is the Camarasaurus, and they are massive. And
One of
Nigel?
the reasons this animal is so common in the fossil record is the sturdiness of its blunt skull. Looking at it more closely, I can sort of see how that could be the case. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, we definitely can agree with you, Nigel. And we also have our Brontos. Look at the texture of their skin. It looks amazing. I love it so much. I wonder if they can also be albino, and if we should try to get one. Like, look at it. It's so pretty. Yeah. And what else? What else? We also have these guys.
Despite being named after the ferryman of the underworld from Greek mythology, Carnosaurus is not known for delivering souls to the afterlife. I've seen the look in the eyes of a hungry Carnosaurus before, and it's almost like they're contemplating a new career path. No, sir, you aren't taking me across the river Styx today. Go and eat your ferns.
Yeah, Tyrannosaurus. So we also have these guys here too. And I love the thing on their head. So colorful. So yeah, we are pretty busy with creatures all around the place. And look at them. They are just sitting by the river and enjoying some rest. I wonder if they are kinda sleeping currently. Oh. Yeah, all of them are beautiful, and we also have a baby, which I added. I'm highly thinking, yeah, we are adding more creatures, and look at that, we do have an albino Dryosaurus. Where did you go? No, 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 don't go away. I'm gonna see you closer. You are so pretty. Look at that. And we can have
Quite elegant, don't
Nigel?
you think? They're especially cute as babies when they have big eyes and stubby noses, just like a puppy.
Okay, why is it like they are cornering here in the rock? I don't know. We do have our parasaurs also here. They are cute. And I think I'm gonna add these guys too. Not too many of them. They can anyway get more into their group if they are interested. Just to have some other options around to see around the park. And yeah, it's gonna be busy under the bridge too, because the big guys don't quite move yet over this area. And we are going to check on them, what are they doing, and do a flyby. So this is the end of our flyby and probably the episode too. I really enjoyed this build, and if you guys did too, let me know with a like or a comment, or maybe if you are interested to see more builds like this, hit that sub button and join the party. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and have a lovely day. Bye bye!